Welcome, naked mole rats. How are you today? I like how your laugh was like a little in the background. It was so cute.
I also had to cough and I have a mute button. So I had to press the mute button, but my arm is it fits. I was just being dramatic. I now see that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're so cute when you're dramatic though.
I am Elvish.
Anyways, that's Elvish, the little giggling mess.
We
This
keep
is...
forgetting our names.
Oh yeah, there's like 4 videos up that we don't introduce ourselves. We did good this week though.
Yeah. But I'm Elvish.
I'm Esper.
This is Violet in the middle. Am I recording?
No, she's
I am.
Violence today. That was crazy. Can you imagine? I did that whole intro and you're not recording.
I forgot. Okay. Oof. All right. Naked mole rats.
Mhm.
All right, Nakey. So, we are doing Onyx Storm. It is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series, which we already did Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Oh, if you saw Iron Flame, you know how we feel going into this. Mind you, this book was better, and we will get into that. Mind you, the summary is going to be the longest part of this video.
We hope.
Strap up, strap in, I don't know.
Strap down, tuck it, whatever.
Ape it? Are we just fucking... Listen. Okay, so this is a very rough summary because nothing happens this book, but apparently if you go online and find a chapter by chapter summary, stuff happens. Okay, so you know Navarre and Aretian, they negotiate a pardon in order to allow the Aretians to stay in Navarre. Xaden, as you know from the 2nd book, he is now Vinin. Violet Violet is determined to find a cure for her baby daddy. Violet is assigned...
They have kids?
You know...
I missed a chapter, apparently.
Violet is assigned to the task force. They have to find the 7th breed of dragons, which, if you are unaware, that is Andarna. Which they also think that the dragons know how to cure or defeat the Vinin. I'm gonna say Vinin. Don't come for me. Negotiations for Pormiel are stalled, and they end up altering the Warstone to allow the Pormiel Griffins to wield for a potential alliance. And obviously that comes with a lot of hand slapping, no. So a full pardon was issued to avoid being prosecuted for treason. General Atos, obviously Dane's dad, is an asshole this book. Why wouldn't he be? He sends Violet and all of 2nd Squad to Samara Outpost. It is currently an active war zone. I think it dies down a little bit once they get there, but this is where Marin's family is. They end up creating a plan to extract Marin's family, but obviously it's a trap. I don't know necessarily how to pronounce her name. I think it's Theophany.
I would say so.
But they encounter the Dark Wielder, and that is Theophany, who ends up wanting Andarna. This goes throughout the entirety of the book. I'm gonna call him Theo for short. Call her, them, I don't fucking know. Theo is also a lightning wielder. And then we also learn that Garrett has a 2nd signet, which he can travel long distances within seconds. You know, Violet does some research on the 7th breed and found that they can be found in the Southern Isles. Violet believes her father's research may have info about this, but obviously General Atos steals that shit. So Dane has to go back and steal it from his dad so that Violet can have it. Violet was granted access to Queen Mariah's library and a meeting with King Cortland of Garavelli in exchange for a gem, which of course they have to go and find said gem. At this point, we find that Captain Grady dies. Who is Captain Grady, you ask? I have no idea, but he dies. Or she. That's a thing. Basically, you know, Holden gets in trouble because he tried to steal from the King Cortland, which leads to a breakdown in negotiations. Violet and Xaden try to retrieve him. Hello?
Grady was known as Violet's professor for the RSC course in Iron Flame. RSC is the writer survival course.
No, that was him? Oh, yeah, no, I did not put the 2 and 2 together. I was just like, I don't know who this fucking person is. No. I'm so sad.
I'm sorry that I brought it up. I wanted you to know who it was.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that still doesn't save this book. Anyway. Yeah. Xaden is forced to channel his bad boy energy for like an alliance for Devarelli. Blah blah blah. They end up going back to Basgiath to unlock her father's journal. Violet and her squad, along with a few additions. Who fucking cares? They search for the 7th breed. Yeah, let's just be fucking for real. That basically happens until the last like 10 chapters where there is now a war. Theophany grows impatient for Violet and asks her to join her and ends up capturing Mira, which is Violet's sister. You know this. And then tells Xaden to basically bring her Violet and Jack. Obviously, it's a trap because why the fuck wouldn't it be? 3, 4, 5 traps in one book. You see it coming. Yeah, Xaden channels himself again and Violet ends up killing Theophany. Violet was gone for like 12 hours. She awakes to now have a ring on her finger and she is legally married to Xaden. But Xaden is gone and he's like, don't find me. That's it. That's all I have for you.
It wasn't a bad book.
It wasn't. It was better than Iron Flame.
I read this book backwards, and I know a lot of you are gonna be like, how the fuck do you read a book backwards? I started at the end. Like the last 10 chapters is where I started. And I'm gonna tell you why. And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe y'all were gonna DNF this book. Yes, we were. I started on chapter, fuck, let me scroll. 56, 55, 55. I started on chapter 55, okay? Because I read a review about Onyx Storm. And I'm going to say that this, I think it was a lady, severely misguides you in how it all goes down. But she says, Andarna leaves Violet for selfish reasons, basically. Which is wrong. It's very wrong. It's horribly wrong. It's terribly wrong. So I read it backwards because I was like, well, I want to read why she left and then see if I even want to read this, because if it is for selfish reasons, then why the hell has the author drilled it into our heads that our bond with the dragon is like holy and unbreakable and like this thing to revere, right? Because if you're just going to break it in the 3rd book, why the fuck am I going to continue reading?
Right.
Why are you drilling that into my head just to be like, oops, my bad? So I went to the chapter where Andarna leaves, and I started there, and then I also looked up how long she's gone and when she comes back, which is basically like the last chapter of the book. So I read the last 10-ish chapters of the book, and then I was like, oh, I'm very lost, I'm very confused. Because if you start in the last 10 chapters, you learn about, I don't know if it says here. Whatever. You find out that there's like this whole other plot point about some temple and the goddess Dune. I think that's how you say her name. I don't know. And I was like, who is this? Why are they important? I'm confused. I'm lost. Whatever. Apparently, it's super important because later, like, the priestess of said temple was like, yeah, I validate your marriage. So you're married. I was like, well, this is obviously an important plot point, and it sounded interesting. But Andarna leaves Violet not because she was like, fuck you, Violet, but because we find out that Andarna is the 7th breed of dragon, the iridescence, which I think is funny. Basically, she was their like guinea pig dragon, and they left her with the humans to see if humans were peaceful species now. Why they would think we would ever be a peaceful species is beyond me. But when they realized Andarna is basically a warrior dragon, they were like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. We don't want you here. So they reject her from their clan. Whatever. Their group of dragons. I don't know what a group of dragons is called. But then some elder dude is like, look, I don't like that you are basically a weapon, but I'm willing to teach you the ways of your people so then you can choose which side you really want to be on. And Andarna was like, oh my gosh, yes, that sounds amazing. And he goes, but you're gonna have to leave Violet. And Andarna was like, yeah, no, it's okay. You can teach me with me still being bonded to Violet. And this guy wasn't having it, so he forcibly blocked their connection, which, I mean, at that point, Andarna really has to go with it. Like, how is she supposed to communicate with Violet if their connection is cut off? And even Violet herself is like, I can't even reach for Andarna because there's a brick wall or some shit. So Andarna leaves and I guess goes and learns the ways of her people, and Violet is all in shambles and broken shit. And then we go to war, and guess what, guys? Guess what? You remember what happened in book 2? Xaden, Vanin. Oh my gosh! Guess what happens at the end of this book?
The exact same
Vanin.
thing. Like,
Which
that
is
is
super
such
annoying.
a cheap fucking move. If you don't have a good way of ending a book, don't go and fucking just copy and paste the ending of another book into this one. That is so cheap.
Yeah, and you're telling me that he wasn't fully Venin at the end of the other book? He just channeled a little bit, so he wasn't fully Venin, but now he like literally unleashed, and now he's fully Venin? Like, why does that matter? Venin is Venin.
Yeah, no, it was a cheap move.
But this book is really good for thinking about, I guess, conspiracy theories about the book. I have one that I had to tell my mom about because Elvish was still reading the book and I couldn't tell her and I needed to tell somebody. But I'm gonna tell you guys now, and Elvish, because she hasn't heard this. But if you remember, Violet talks about her mom, how she had like scary, weird mood changes and her eyes were bloodshot, you know, like the Venin when she was younger, and how, you know, her mom got sick while she was pregnant with Violet, and then Violet came out all weak and shit. I think that Violet's mom became Venin while she was pregnant with Violet. And since like the Venin pull life force, I'm gonna assume it's like what the source is. Well, she's fucking pregnant, so she has a life force right in her stomach. So I'm thinking that the reason why Violet came out so weak was because her mom channeled while pregnant. So she was basically killing Violet. And then the dad was like, whoa, my wife is venom? That's crazy. But I love her, so let's find a cure. Which is why I think he was studying the Feathertails, because they know everything there is to know about the adults. But do we know about the children? So I'm thinking either Andarna's dragon type or just like baby dragons in general are somehow the cure to venenism, being a venin, whatever. Because obviously her mom got better, and she wasn't a venin before she kicked the bucket. But Violet also came out different. Her hair is different, her eyes are different. She has like characteristics of the 7th dragon type colors. So
That's all very valid.
Yeah, that's my theory. I'm thinking the dad finished his research, cured the mom, but also had to hide the research because it somehow put dragon kind in danger. So obviously we don't want dragons to be killed and shit. So he hid his research, and the only person that can find it is obviously Violet, because he trained her to be a scribe. So obviously she would know how to get all of his research and stuff and how to figure out where he was going with it. So I think in the next book, Violet is going to figure it out, and then she's somehow going to go find Xaden and cure him of his venenism, and then Sorrengail won't forsake him and their bond won't be broken, and then they'll be all happy gung-ho again.
Yeah, no, that's all very valid. I'm really hoping the next one has a different plot to it, though. I think you and I were talking about that, because if it just continues on the same path, it's going to be so boring.
Yeah, but I don't want her to do a new plot for the sake of new plot.
Right.
I want it to be like a plot that makes sense. Because Violet gets her like dream walker thing. Signet? Whatever. She can astral project now. And control lightning. And possibly dragons. Who knows? But she has her little dreamwalker thing. So I'm hoping that in the next book she goes back to her roots of like being a scribe and really like dives into the research and uses her dream walking or whatever it is to help find, I'm gonna assume it's gonna help her find Xaden, right? Because she can't dream walk in her own dad's dreams because he kicked the bucket. So I'm gonna hope that she finds the answer or the cure to being a venin, and then dream walks to go find Xaden, and then cures him. How many books are supposed to be in the series?
I think there's 2 more.
Okay, and it's gonna end with her saving him, and then the next book will be her being like, oh yeah, by the way, I also figured out how to end the venin, and that's when her and her little group are gonna go and
I don't know. I don't have faith for that last book.
I have faith in the last book that it would be good.
I mean, I have faith that it will be good, but I don't have faith in the last book, because every single book starts with this being a fully transcribed story. 9 times out of 10, if you have a fully transcribed story, it's because the originals are all dead.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that they survive. I'm saying they go and they end the venin.
Yeah.
And maybe they all die. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because it's transcribed by her little scribe friend.
Right. Jacenna?
I forget what her name is. Yeah, Jacenna, the one that signs.
Yeah.
So I think because if she wouldn't be able to transcribe it if they didn't kill all the Venin, because then the Venin would be taking over Basgiath and stuff. I would assume.
Right.
Because her and her little band of hooligans are the strongest ones there, I think. So if they're gone, then Venin can just take over. And then Jasenia couldn't transcribe it. So I think they die. And maybe Violet told Jasenia that she wanted her to transcribe it all. I don't know. So that's what Jasenia does.
Well,
that would be a crazy ending, though. They all die.
Right. I mean, at least half of them have to. I don't know. I don't know. For me personally, I unfortunately don't really have much to say about any of this. That's kind of like why I'm just letting Esper do her thing. I don't know. I liked this book. I really did. This book feels like Iron Flame and Fourth Wing combined, which I know that sounds confusing, but Fourth Wing was one of my favorite books. I say was as in past tense because I don't know how I feel about this series now, and I feel weird promoting it as much as I was. But Fourth Wing was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second of it. Iron Flame was just an incredibly massive filler book for no fucking reason. It was too long for its own good. Should not have even been that long. But the beginning of Onyx Storm comes out and it's basically the exact same as Iron Flame. I'm like, bro, I'm bored. I don't want to be reading this. And then the last 25% of the book, it was action packed. You actually get some character development. You get more depth in the story, and it felt more like Fourth Wing. So now I'm very conflicted because I'm just like, okay, well, the first half of it was absolute garbage. I didn't like the beginning of it. I'm not going to lie. I'm so sorry. But the ending was so good. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the ending of this book. But
yeah,
now...
I think this author has a problem with info dumping.
Yeah, agreed. Because now we have to wait. Typically we have an understanding of when the next book is coming out. We don't know when the next book is coming out yet. So now we have to wait a year, 2 years, whatever, for the fourth book in the series. And I don't know, if it starts anything like Iron Flame did again, I don't know if I can continue the series. But with how good it was at the end, I'm hoping the action will continue. And I'm hoping at that point, we actually get the series we deserved. Because Iron Flame did not do the series justice. And it really, hindered the way I feel about it, But, I didn't like... The parts I didn't like, I guess, in this book, Violet and Xaden argue every 5 fucking seconds. My God. It's so infuriating and just mad obnoxious. I don't enjoy every 2 seconds. And it's to the point where I know it's supposed to be a joke because even the others like Riddick, Mira, even Kat, they're all making fun of it on how they argue like an old married couple. And I get it. But at some point it becomes too much and it becomes oversaturated and just nothing that I want to see. And that continued. I absolutely loved Riddick. I'm surprised enough that I really loved Kat. I know we said it in the last video. I don't think Kat's addition was necessary in Iron Flame, but I actually really loved her character in this book, and I do believe that she had amazing banter. I mean, I wouldn't say amazing, like life-changing, but she had banter that was so, like, appropriately placed where we needed some change of pace. So Kat would come in, would have her like little minute of banter and then leave, and then you felt refreshed and ready for the next plot change, if that makes sense. I do like what they did with her, but I don't know, I'm still a little bit confused by the ending. I'm not gonna lie, I guess I'm smooth brained on this book. I don't understand this ending. Esper did write me messages on like her explaining the ending, and I have yet to go read them.
What?
I'm
You said you were
sorry.
gonna do that yesterday.
I didn't finish Little Liar until like midnight.
Oh, okay, well then tell me. I'll explain to you right now. What was it that you didn't get again?
I'm trying to figure it out. Well, I'm trying to find it. Hold on.
Also, we're probably not even getting the next book until 2026 or 2027 because she's contractually obligated to write a contemporary romance. So that's
Right.
probably not going to come out till the end of this year, maybe early next year. And she hasn't even started writing the next one. So
Okay, so
I
I'm
don't
gonna.
think I have high hopes.
No, yeah, I definitely don't. I'm gonna read word for word what Esper put. But it says Zayden became more venom during the war because he unleashed a whole bunch of power, which meant he was pulling from the source. Okay, I got that. When Sorrengail was like, I will not forsake you, and the person who I decide if we stay bonded is Violet. Wait, what? I will not forsake you. The person who will decide if we stay. Okay. Violet.
Yeah, because he becomes venom and she looks at him different. And he tells her, "Are you gonna forsake me too?" And she says, "No, there's nothing left to forsake." And then she says that I think she says the girl will determine your fate.
Yeah.
Which is what leads me to believe that Violet is the one that finds the cure.
That makes sense.
Shit.
And then it says Violet blacked out because she burned herself out of almost to save Tarn and herself. She almost likely married because Zayden didn't want her to think that he was abandoning her. That's the part that I don't understand. Anyway.
Well, it does say that when she wakes up and she's confused, she has a ring on her finger. Imogen is like, "You asked me to erase like the last couple of hours so that you didn't remember."
Okay. I didn't catch that part right there. Thank you. I didn't catch that part. Okay. So she didn't want to remember any of it, so Imogen like took her memories away?
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess that Zayden married her so that, what's the place called where they were at the beginning of Iron Flame? Whatever that little area was that was supposed to, Arisha. I think he married her so that she could go back to Arisha because he's like the ruler, I think. So if he's married to her, she has rights to be there and go there, and people have to listen to her. So I think that he gave her that that power, so she had somewhere to go. But I'm thinking that maybe she asked for her memories to be wiped because they don't fully trust Dane, and they had like a conversation about something that she doesn't want Dane to know. And then also Zayden was like not gonna come back, and she didn't want to know where he was, so because she was obviously gonna go look for him. So I think that's the whole reason for the memory wipe and her being so confused and shit.
I know, that makes sense. Okay, well that was it. That was the main thing I was confused on.
No, I'm glad I could clear it up.
But ultimately, yes, this book was better. I don't think it was life-changing. Like Fourth Wing, I felt to me was life-changing. If we're talking about like how good the book was, Iron Flame was ass. This one was a lot better. I guess I'll just go ahead and say it now. I actually gave this one a 4-star. I originally started at a 3-star because I had no hopes for this book whatsoever. It's actually a 4-star. I really liked it. I just wish the beginning, like that, the first like 50-60% was a little bit quicker and like fast paced rather than just full on information dump. But it was good. It was a good book. I'm glad we did read it, and I am hoping the next book is good, because this whole having to wait a few years for it, either she's going to take this time to find her inspiration and make that the best book ever, or she's just gonna lose all hope, all inspiration, and even basically be like, okay, well, where did we leave off? Oh, okay, so let me just, I'm nervous, but I'm hoping for the better that this time will allow her to get all of the inspiration out of her brain hole and put it into like a really, really great ending of the series.
Agreed. I really do hope that happens. I hope that it's not like with Iron Flame where it feels like she had nothing left to give the series.
She fell out of love with the series.
Yeah. What did I say?
When?
Well, I said inspiration, but I mean, love inspiration is kind of the same. I just feel like
I was like, wait, what?
yeah, either she didn't have inspiration or she didn't know how to get all of the information that she wanted to tell us in an entertaining way, so it was just like boom, information. And I really hope, I hope that in the next one it isn't boom, information again.
Yeah.
Like, some information is good, but like weave it into the story. Don't just be like, and word vomit.
Exactly.
But I also gave it a 4. I like a book that makes me sit down and actually think about how some of these things are connected. Or makes me be like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. Granted, I couldn't do that with this one because I like read it backwards, so I knew what was gonna happen. But I like a book that makes me make connections between like book 1 and book 2 into this book.
Yeah.
Thinking about what's gonna happen into the next one. So that's why I gave this one a 4. But I also don't think that it's life-changing and wonderful, amazing. It was enough to bring me back into the series. But I promise you, if the next one is a flop, I don't care how much you pay me, I'm not reading the last book.
Yeah.
I despise series that are long and they're like good book, bad book, good book, bad book, good book, bad. I don't want to read that. Either make them all good or make them all bad. Just pick one.
Agreed. You know, and I was telling Esper this too, because I think I touched on it in the Fourth Wing episode, but I read Fourth Wing twice. But I read Fourth Wing, and then we were supposed to do a podcast episode right then and there. It didn't happen. The podcast technically wasn't quite a thing yet, so it didn't happen. I actually did a solo video on it by myself and then ended up deleting it, I believe. But I ended up rereading it. At this point, whenever we did the podcast, Iron Flame and Onyx Storm was already released. So that entire time, Iron Flame was already out for about a year, and then Onyx Storm released. I couldn't even look anything Fourth Wing related up because it was always about Iron Flame and then now Onyx Storm. So now that we're fully caught up, I can finally start looking Fourth Wing stuff up again. And I don't know, I'm happy about that because I get to see fan art, I get to hear theories, and I get to just see memes and everything because Esper actually sent me memes of something and I'm like, wait, that's Iron Flame, and I wasn't there yet. But I'm very glad.
I'm about to send you one that's gonna make you cry.
Oh no. What are you sending it on?
Instagram.
Oh, fuck me.
Look at it, look at it, look at it right now.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I actually have tears. That's so sad.
I told you it was gonna make you cry.
Oh, I want it.
I thought you might.
The first comment says gorgeous, but I don't like reminding myself of the absolute most heart-destroying death I've ever read.
Mm-hmm. For those of you who, well, because we're not like a video, like a in-person podcasting stream, I sent her a post of like a framed section of the book, and it says, "It's been my honor," and it has a dragon up in the right corner, and it says, "Liam," and his last name, "2nd Squad, Tail Section, 4th Wing." And I'm pretty sure that's like the whole section where he dies.
Right, that's what I was about to say. The whole like writing in the background is the entire section of his death and like the battle and like the war. Okay, well, that's fucking depressing. Thanks.
Look, you did this to me when we did Fourth Wing, so I thought we should end this one on
I
a depressing note
know.
too.
Oh my god. Well, that's all I personally have. I mean, I know I kind of already said it, and it's probably like beating a dead horse, but I'm so torn. I loved Fourth Wing, and, you know, even though it has been hotter, I stopped wearing my Fourth Wing hoodie because, I don't know, I feel weird about it. Like, everyone's always like, this is the I even saw like a TikTok video the other day where they're like, if you don't like the series, I truly think you're lying, and they had Onyx Storm, and it's just like, I feel weird because like Fourth Wing was so fantastic, and the others, they just feel rushed, and like there's no emotion behind it, no anything. Like, I don't know, I feel weird. So I'm really hoping, with how good this book felt towards the end, I'm hoping the next book is just as great, because I need it to be great, if that makes sense. Like, I am putting everything on this book being great, because like I love this series, and I haven't read too many of them because it's hard to find them, but like I want a good dragon series. Like, I want a top-notch dragon series that blows us out of the water,
No.
and I haven't been able to find one. Like, they always plummet.
I have to share this with you guys. Okay. It is a post. I'm scrolling through because I'm like, I have nothing else to say. But this says, when you
Mood.
realized Terran was resting at the end of Onyx Storm because Andarna broke the mating bond between him and Sorrengail. These two dragons sacrificed everything for their riders. Sorrengail can now follow Xaden into Venin territory without the mating bond restriction. And the breakage of the bond also means that no one can simply kill Violet to wipe out Xaden. But that also means no more mind bonding with Xaden and Vi unless Violet is actually a mind walker. Her signet and Xaden explaining his to mind reading could mean that they could communicate with each other regardless of the bond. That just broke my heart.
No, wow, that shattered
What do you
me.
mean Terran and Sorrengail's bond is broken?
Wait, that just means he's not gonna be the same in the next book. Oh,
He's gonna be empty. The poor baby.
it's fine. I'm kind of dreading the next one. It's fine.
It's fine. We have 2 years. You'll forget all about it.
Probably not. Probably.
Oh.
Well, because by that time, if I'm being honest, I'll probably reread the series. If not reread the series, go back through like my heavy ass notes and be like, oh, okay.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's all I have. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the series yet. It's there.
I'm Esper, by the way.
Yeah, I'm Elvish. This is Violet, Violence, whatever you want to call her. I now regret her name too. Fuck. No, I won't do that. No, we won't do that. Well, I'm excited for next week's video, so hopefully we see you there. But yeah, okay, bye.
Bye.